And a pleasant good morning to you, or afternoon, whenever you're watching. Good night, whatever. I love you. I'm Bernie Miklasz, and this is the Bernie Show presented by DraftKings. The crown is yours. By the way, I'm wearing this Toronto Maple Leafs cap because the Toronto Blue Jays are in town. And the interesting thing about this cap is that this is a replica cap of a Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team that was in the International League from 1896 through 1967. So the Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team predated the existence of the NHL Toronto Maple Leafs. So this is the real Maple Leafs baseball cap, if you ask me. So anyway, I wanted to explain that. Just a gesture of respect to our friends in Canada. In case you didn't hear the news over the weekend, we've changed our name. The new name of our site is STL Sports Central, and the site is stlsportscentral.com. Also, you can follow us on X at STL Sports Central CTRL, little abbreviation for control, at STL Sports Central CTRL on X. And St. Louis Sports Central is where you'll find all of my columns and videos, and I join Randy Carricker on Friday mornings and also make some other special appearances. So it's a great home, just has a new name. STLSportsCentral.com is where you go. Please subscribe to all the videos and everything else we do. All right, let's get started here. It was a great weekend at Busch Stadium with Shohei Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, and the most expensive roster in Major League Baseball in town. The glamorous Dodgers and the underdog type Cardinals drew an average of 39,900 to 30 games. Excuse me, do that again. I'm talking too fast. 39,930 fans for the three games. I thought they were, based on what people were saying before, sort of Friday afternoon, people were expecting crowds of 40,000 for all three games. And they fell a little short on Saturday, but that was a weird day because of the pretty doom and gloom weather forecast. But I think, listen, as far as baseball in St. Louis in 2025 goes, that was a great weekend because the crowds were festive and lively, and the ballpark was a lot fuller than it usually is in terms of spectators. So that was a good time. Plus, the Cardinals took 2 out of 3 from Los Angeles and won the first 2 games with style and verve. They were daring. They took some risks. They were pushing it. I loved it. Entering the series, the Dodgers were ranked first or second in the majors in every meaningful offensive category, except for maybe stolen bases. That's a legitimately great offense. The Dodgers are. So I must say I was surprised. I ain't going to lie and say, well, I knew they'd do that. No, I was really surprised to see the Cardinals pitchers make the Dodgers blue by allowing only 1 run over 18 innings to take the first 2 games of the series. I did not envision that scenario. No, I did not. And before coming to St. Louis, the Dodgers had the best batting average and slugging percentage in the majors with runners in scoring position, with ungodly numbers with runners in scoring position. But Cardinals starters Sonny Gray and Eric Fedde, plus a crew of 5 relievers, allowed only 1 hit in 25 at-bats when the Dodgers had runners in position to score in the first 2 games. That's just amazing. Did anyone believe the Cardinals could hold the LA offense down for all 3 games? To be honest, I didn't. So with the sweep on the line, the Dodgers broke out for 7 runs in a 7-3 victory on Sunday. I don't have any real complaints about Sunday's loss. The Cardinals were stymied by a very sharp Clayton Kershaw, fell behind by 4 runs. A comeback was possible because at one point the Cardinals cut it to 4-2, but they couldn't get a big hit that they needed, and there were some opportunities. Michael McGreevy gave up 3 runs in the second inning, but other than that, pitched well. I have no problems with him either because he's going against a great lineup that was overdue for a breakout. And one bad inning kind of tainted the whole thing. But listen, man, McGreevy showed great composure, and he adjusted and got better after that 3-run second inning. So much respect to him. I hope he stays. Something tells me he won't be, but that's another video for another day. There was a little bit of a controversy. I'm sure you heard of it because it's all over social media, because this is what social media exists for controversies, both real and imagined. but I'll play along because I think it was funny. I'm not sure why the folks in charge of the game presentation or the video board or whatever you want to call it at Busch Stadium decided to taunt Clayton Kershaw, a future Hall of Famer, by showing multiple replays of Matt Adams bombing this future Hall of Famer with a 3-run homer that memorably won the game and the NFL, the National League Division Series back in 2014. Why mess with that? I mean, Kershaw was already, because he's got a lot to prove this year, could be his final season, and he's, coming back from foot surgery. And so he got roughed up a little bit when he returned, but he's getting better. And he had a lot to prove, and he was fired up yesterday. He had a chance to at least salvage a win for his team. He was building off a really good start in his previous outing. So, why mess with Kershaw? Now, if you want to say lighten up, okay, I'll lighten up. By the way, I didn't lose any sleep over this. I'm not raging against the machine. I'm just saying, why mess with him? Why poke him? Right? He didn't like it. He referred to the Adams video loop as, quote, a little Busch League. And he added, quote, but I don't expect anything less from these guys. Well, I didn't understand. I don't even know what he's referring to, that second part about, I don't expect anything less from these guys. What does that mean? How many of these guys have been around since Matt Adams hit that home run in 2014? I'm talking about how many Cardinals on this team had anything to do with that team. And what have the Cardinals done, even this team, even during this series? It's the first time they played the Dodgers this year. What the heck did they do? I'm talking about the people in uniform. What did they do that was kind of a low-class type move or moves? I didn't see anything. Then again, let's go back to where this all stems from, and this is just my opinion. Maybe Kershaw was still seething and feeling the sting because of what the Cardinals did to him. He made 5 postseason starts against him during his career. But in the final 3 postseason starts he had against the Cardinals in 2013 and 2014, in the 3 starts, he pitched 16 2/3 innings, and he got mashed for 18 earned runs allowed. Ouch. Yeah, I think the burn is still there. So maybe that's why he was a little overly sensitive to the Adams video. Here's my thing. And again, this is not a big deal, and I am talking about it, so maybe I'm making it a bigger deal than it is. But I got to say, I just don't understand why the Cardinals trolled Kershaw before a start that could be his final appearance ever at Busch Stadium. Listen, I like the way the Cardinals players go about their business. I like the way Ollie Marmol and the coaches go about their business. This is a group that competes with confidence and flair, and they play hard, and they don't back off, and they believe they can come back and win any game. The players, the guys in uniforms, are taking care of business between the lines this season, and they're doing it, in my opinion, in a highly professional way. And they've exceeded expectations with a .554 winning percentage that's tied for 9th best in the majors through Sunday. And that's pretty impressive considering how they started out the season. So what I'm trying to say here is I think the dudes in uniform are doing a very good job. They don't need any help from the non-baseball people who put stuff on the Jumbotron. They didn't need that Sunday. I don't think they need it in any day, especially if it means basically taunting an opponent who is going to be on the mound against you that day, with his team having lost the first 2 games and everyone over there getting a little antsy, and he's the guy, he's the Hall of Famer, he's the 11-time All-Star. Why, again, I'm going to ask, why poke the bear? What's the point? What do you gain from that? I don't think you gain anything from that. So if the Cardinals non-baseball people did nothing to help the Cardinals on Sunday, they probably helped Kershaw by providing some extra motivation. Not that he needed any, but hey, little extra fuel in the tank. Hey, at least people like me are talking about it, so maybe the team's non-baseball personnel wanted to create a buzz. Okay, fine, but it backfired. Better luck next time. As I said earlier, I was surprised to see the Cardinals hold the Dodgers to 1 run in the first 2 games. But here's the question. I want to get into some things that I think are interesting. Here's the question. Should we really be surprised to see the Cardinals win a series from the Dodgers? Should we really be surprised? I have some thoughts on this. I'm going to get to it in my second segment. But first, some words about DraftKings and their daily Pick 6 contest. DraftKings covers a wide variety of sports, but if you think you know Major League Baseball, and we are in the heart of the Major League Baseball season, it is time to put your knowledge to use to win big cash prizes through the daily Pick Six contest. In DraftKings Pick Six, you focus on player stats. You select anywhere from 2 to 6 players, and you choose whether the individual player will go higher or lower on a specific stat set for his game by DraftKings. Now, here's an example. I try to give you a hypothetical each time. Monday night, you got the Cardinals and Blue Jays. Andre Pallante is the starting pitcher for the Cardinals. He's been getting pounded, hammered by right-handed hitters this season, slugging nearly 500 against him. Toronto's George Springer, you remember him from his Houston Astros days. He bats from the right side, and he has popped 5 home runs in his last 10 games. Well, will Springer do it again? DraftKings has set a home run line for Springer at 0.5 homers for Monday's game. So if you think he'll go deep against the Cardinals, then you would select higher than 0.5 homers. Or if you don't think he will, then you would pick less than 0.5 homers, which means no homers. So I just wanted to give you a little schooling there about what that means. And yeah, Pick Six is that simple. It's a lot of fun. So no need to wait. Get in there. Get in the game to take your best shot at winning money. Pick Six is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. You're going to enjoy tracking your players that you select while the games are in progress. It adds to the fun. But the most fun and the most entertaining part is actually winning at DraftKings, and you can do that. Easy to get going. You can you download the DraftKings app, which is really easy to do. It's a really beautiful app they put together. Just open an account, then choose a sport, pick your players, and go for it. New players at DraftKings get $50 in Pick Six credits instantly with a $5 entry. Download the DraftKings Pick Six app now and use the code STL Sports. That's the code STL Sports for new customers to play $5 and get $50 in Pick Six credits. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick Six from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick Six not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick Six credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at picksix.draftkings.com/promos.
All right, let's get to my question. Did we have any good reason? I mean, like a legitimately good reason to doubt the Cardinals and their capability of winning the series in this matchup against the Dodgers, other than the Cardinals cooling off some lately, where they had lost 2 of their previous 3 series going into this one? They still had a lot going for them. And that's more than we could say about a Dodgers team that has been ravaged by pitching injuries. In fact, they still have 14 pitchers on the IL. That's just crazy. But the trends told us the Cardinals were more than capable of winning this set from Los Angeles. And a lot of it has to do with Los Angeles as much as it has to do with the Cardinals. But since April the 11th, and I don't think a large percentage of people know this, since April 11th, the Cardinals actually have a better winning percentage than the Dodgers. I mean, that's after the first 12 games of the season. The Cardinals actually have a better record than the Dodgers. Since April the 30th, the Cardinals lead the National League with a .667 winning percentage. Since May 4th, the Cardinals have the best record in baseball at 22-10. Over the same time, where the Cardinals were going 22-10, the Dodgers are a game under 500 at 17-18. So over the last month plus of baseball, the Cardinals' record is 6.5 games better than LA's record. So yet you look at this thing, and I'm only using the betting lines as a reference point. The Dodgers were the money. Excuse me. Let me start over here. The Dodgers were the money line betting favorite before all 3 games against the Cardinals, and in all 3 games, the Dodgers were favored to win by 1.5 runs. Why was this? I think it reflects the public skepticism over the Cardinals' outstanding record ever since they struggled out. At one point, they were 10-15. Then they were 14-19 after 33 games. So I think people that don't follow a team all that closely are looking at this and say, well, I know they're hot. Good for them. But, man, that 14-19 team, who do we really think they are? And I think a lot of people probably still view them as that team that got out of the gate slowly, whether that's accurate or not. I mean, I'm not making any judgments here. I'm just trying to explain some of my theories why the Cardinals have yet to be taken fully seriously, mostly on a national basis. But there's even some skepticism locally, and I get that. I get that because the Cardinals were viewed as a team that wrote off the 2025 season, and that logic was supported by the franchise spending only $2 million on free agency. But when you have a team that has won as much as the Cardinals saying, oh, we may take a step back this year, well, this is all about giving young players opportunities. I mean, that's not saying you're rebuilding, but that's like one step above rebuilding, especially when you slash 35 to 40 millions from previous year's payroll, and you don't do anything in an active way to improve your team other than sign the reliever Phil Maton to that $2 million contract. So yeah, they weren't exactly tearing down the house and rebuilding, but they were voluntarily, in effect, going into sort of a gray area. We're not sure what to make of them. They're probably not going to be real good, but they may not be awful. As I always said, they'd be in that John Mozeliak middle, the mediocre middle. So I think that there's a lot of people that are slow to come around on the Cardinals. And again, I'm going to probably say this a couple more times, and I do understand that. Even though the Dodgers have been a 500 team since winning 23 of their first 33 games, 23-10 after 33 games, they're viewed as kingpins that spent $405 million on their 40-man payroll for 2025. And that figure will grow before the July 31st trade deadline. The Cardinals, meanwhile, are still in the process of establishing themselves, changing perceptions, but a significant layer of doubt remains outside of their clubhouse that has nothing to do with the players and the staff themselves. Cardinals players honestly believe this team is good, and they have been telling us that since spring training. And yeah, every time I heard it in spring training, I would give the usual, as I'm sure a lot of you did, the usual response is like, well, what do you expect them to say, right? And that's a fair point. Friday night, the Cards shut out the Dodgers 5-0. Saturday, the Cardinals, in one of their really typical wins in 2025, they scrapped and they grinded and they kept battling, and somehow they got out of there with a thrilling 2-1 win over that star-studded team with the $400 million roster. The players themselves were not surprised by winning the series by beating the Dodgers in the first two games. As Nolan Gorman said after Saturday's win, and I quote, "That says the same thing I've been saying since spring training," Gorman said. "We've got a really good team, and a lot of people who are doubting us are going to be surprised. We've said it for a while now. We've got a really good team, and there is a special bond in this clubhouse." I appreciate what he's saying there, and he's right. This team loves playing ball. They love playing ball with each other, and it's nothing but good vibrations in that clubhouse. So, is it time to believe in the Cardinals? It's an interesting question because the Cardinals didn't make the playoffs in 2023 and 2024, and the National League is loaded with a lot of quality, robust teams like the Mets, Phillies, Dodgers, Cubs, Padres, and Giants, and even some of the teams that have losing records or close to, or who are mediocre so far. I'm thinking of like the Diamondbacks, and I'm thinking of like the Braves, and I'm thinking about Milwaukee, which is really hot. There's some other really dangerous teams in the National League that aren't yet, way up the board, the leaderboard, right? But anyway, the six teams that I mentioned, I'll do it again: Mets, Phillies, Dodgers, Cubs, Padres, and Giants. All six of those teams have better records than St. Louis this season, even though the Cardinals get points for being the hottest team in the National League, posting a record that's 12 games over 500 since the start of play on April the 25th. That was 45 days ago. So if the Cardinals keep winning, and listen, they've been excellent over a 45-day stretch. Now, again, that ain't 162 games. I get it, because I say that all the time. But if the Cardinals keep winning and winning, at what point would neutral observers or even some of their own fans take them seriously and say, hey, these guys are for real? My answer for 2025, maybe never. Maybe never. And yeah, I can explain why I'm saying this. And I'm not saying I'm down on this team. I'm just saying I understand why there's a lot of people are kind of sitting back saying, I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure about these guys yet. And I'll tell you why I'm saying this in my third and final segment of today's show. But first, it's time for my pep talk to my fellow men out there. Blue Chew can help you, gentlemen. Blue Chew can help you have a more pleasurable, fulfilling life with your significant other. And there is no good reason whatsoever for you to miss out when the help's there for you. And this applies to men of all ages, but especially those who are in my age range of over 60. I can collect Social Security. That's how old I am, although I'm not doing it yet. This issue impacts a lot of men, and I know all about it because that's why I appreciate Blue Chew and what it can do for me. And I know it can do the same for you, and I want you to discover it as well. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for enhanced intimacy. Think of Blue Chew this way, in the words of one of the New York Mets broadcasters who was promoting Blue Chew. He said, quote, chew it and do it. All right. That's a good slogan to me. You will get your first month of Blue Chew free. You're just a few clicks away, and it's easy to get going. Sign up at bluechew.com, consult with their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. It's all done online. No visits to the doctor's office, no awkward, uncomfortable conversations, no waiting in line at the drugstore, at the pharmacy. Just order online and you're good to go. Guys, Blue Chew will help give you the confidence you need, and that really makes a difference. We have a special deal for our listeners. Try your first month of Blue Chew free when you use the promo code Bernie. That's me, Bernie. Just pay $5 shipping. That's promo code Bernie. Visit bluechew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the Bernie Show. All right, now, thank you. We're back for segment number 3. Except for their stumble out of the gate, the Cardinals have pretty much done everything we could have hoped for. They've won 2 series, not one, but 2 series from the Phillies. They won a home series with the Mets, and now they've done the same with the Dodgers. They won a home series early against the Twins and Astros. They won a home series against the Brewers, and they won a road series at Kansas City. The Cardinals aren't packed with a lot of dynamite offensively, and I'm thinking that's one of the reasons maybe people sort of take them for granted a little bit. So even though they're not loaded with power, they do hit doubles. And it's a season where power is down in the major league. So you got to remember that as well. But anyway, the Cardinals, even with limited power, are still resourceful enough offensively to be ranked 7th in the majors in average runs per game. As a whole, their pitching staff ranks 8th for the season in the majors for fielding independent ERA. Their starting pitchers are tied for 7th overall in quality starts. And after rearranging their bullpen in late April, the Cardinals have a success rate on save opportunities of 75%. It's one of the best in the majors over that time. And they're number 5 in holds, which means the setup guys are passing the potential save opportunity. They're holding it in place for the closer, Ryan Helsley. And the St. Louis defense, as you know, leads the majors in outs above average. As of Monday morning, the Cardinals ranked 4th in the majors behind the Mets, the Yankees, and Tigers for the best record against opponents who have a winning record on the season as of today. So, in other words, it's not like the Cardinals haven't played good teams. Listen, they still have a lot of games left of good teams, including 7 with the Cubs in a home and home that begins June 23rd here, 4 games in St. Louis. Then in early July, 3 games at Wrigley Field. So the Cardinals haven't played the Padres yet. They haven't played the Giants yet. So, yeah, there's still some really good teams they haven't taken on as of yet. Toronto coming in is a really good team. But anytime the Cardinals slip up, and by the way, this applies to me as well. Again, I always tell you the truth about myself. But when the Cardinals slip up, we have a tendency to overreact, thinking like, oh, is this it? Are they fallen? Are they crashed back to earth? That kind of thing. But when the Cardinals give a series away, as they did last week, the thing about this team, they gave that series away to the Royals last week. Sorry. And every time they do something like that, they've almost always rebounded since straightening out the ship in late April. They've been rebounding every time that they sort of go in the wrong direction for a little while. The Cardinals have not lost more than 2 consecutive games since that bad 1-7 road trip against the Mets and the Braves that ended on April the 23rd. Since May the 4th, the Cardinals have had just 2 streaks of losing 2 in a row. At home to Detroit, no shame there. on the road at Texas. No shame there, but disappointing, sure. But every team goes through that stuff. Every team goes through it. So the Cardinals are no exception. So I'm not sure why we sort of get this little anxiety every time they lose a series they should win, because it happens to the best. And this team does a good job of bouncing back. And that's one of the big things you can have working in your favor. A team that just doesn't get discouraged and will keep fighting no matter what. So what gives? Why aren't the Cardinals being taken seriously as perhaps they should be? I can think of a few things. The Cardinals don't hit, I mentioned this, but let's expand. The Cardinals don't hit a lot of home runs, so they aren't considered explosive offensively. And you know it, and I know it. Explosive offenses get the most notoriety. The Cardinals are just kind of saying, well, that's a nice little offense, but no one, they're not viewed as dangerous, probably viewed as resourceful. There is a lack of trust in their Cardinals starting pitching depth. Their secondary relievers aren't so hot. You probably could say that about a lot of major league bullpens, right? The other thing is the Cardinals have lost prominence, and usually they would get the benefit of the doubt at times during that any time between the start of 2000 through 2015, whenever they got off to a slow start or wherever something was, they were going in the wrong way. They got the benefit of the doubt because there was a history of winning and winning big and winning on the October postseason stage. And so they've lost that prominence and they've lost that reputation, and they're not viewed the same way. So when they get off to a good start now or a bad start now, or they have a bad week or something, they don't get that benefit of the doubt some of those great Cardinals teams did from 2000 through 2015. This organization, as you know, has not been a postseason factor since beating the Braves in the divisional playoff round in 2019. And that, to this day, that was their first and only win in a postseason round since 2014 when they beat the Dodgers in the NLDS. These 2025 players for the Cardinals, of course, had nothing to do with any of that. I'm talking about the postseason futility. But as a franchise, the Cardinals have just lost prestige on that national postseason stage, and that's been happening for 10 years. So they're not a team, you hear the name Cardinals, oh man, those guys, watch out, they'll be ready for October. That luster's not there. So I'm not going to say the Cardinals aren't also ran, but the way they're viewed nationally, they're not viewed as anything special. They're viewed as a team that hasn't gotten to the postseason consistently. When they do, they flop. So again, very few players involved with this now had anything to do with that, right? Maybe in 2022, that would be it. So the Cardinals, and the way I would put it, the 2025 Cardinals are seen as an in-between team that's transitioning in the front office and then transitioning also on the field. No one knows if they will be buyers or sellers at the trade deadline. I think that's part of the reason why they're not quite taken as seriously as maybe they should be, maybe. And even if the Cardinals are buyers in late July, I really don't think many people believe they're going to go in big on a major move. Maybe they'll surprise us. But as I sit here today, I don't see it. Let's wait and see what they do. But how many people really think they're going to go in big? Like we're pushing all our chips to the middle of the table. I don't see that. And here's the difference. We definitely can see that with teams like the Cubs, the Dodgers, the Phillies, the Padres, maybe the Giants. I think I left somebody out, but the best of the lot in the National League. Some of those teams will do everything they can to make a serious upgrade to their rosters before the deadline. And see, that would make the Cardinals challenge even more difficult in theory anyway. The other thing is no one knows if their important young hitters, Jordan Walker, Nolan Gorman, can evolve and turn into impact bats that, win games, hit home runs, do all these good things. Walker was showing signs of that before he got hurt. Gorman's starting to come out of it. So we have to wait and see. But nobody knows what the answer is to that, because for the Cardinals to be considered a more dangerous team, frankly, those two guys have to be part of that. As of Monday morning, 6 National League clubs have a higher probability of making the postseason tournament than the Cardinals. And see, that's what I talk about. This is a tough track in the National League. The Cardinals have won enough to stay on the radar, but on the National League radar, the Cardinals are still viewed as a middle-of-the-pack contender that ranks 7th among the 15 teams in winning percentage. That's basically is kind of a middle of the pack record, even though, again, they've been much better than that since late April. I don't share all of these views, but I understand the skepticism among those of you, those locally, those anywhere that people follow baseball, and especially Cardinals baseball. I understand the skepticism. There's only one way you're going to put an end to that. You got to keep winning and winning. And when you don't win, when you lose 2 out of 3 series, then you have to, if that happens, stuff like that happens, you got to keep rebounding over and over and over again. You got to come back quick from a rough week or a disappointing series, because that skepticism is going to continue to be there. Hey, I don't think it's bad to have the underdog thing going. If, the way I look at it, if I were a Cardinals player, let everybody doubt us. Let everyone just say, well, I don't know about these guys. See, I think the Cardinals benefit from that. You don't want them circled on the calendar, but on the schedule, I should say, by teams. It's like, well, that's a good team, so we got to go in there with our A game, that kind of thing. So actually, the fact that people are overlooking the Cardinals, that's probably works to their advantage. But they got to keep rebounding anytime that they fall down, right? The challenge resumes this week. It's great the Cardinals won a series against the Dodgers, but let me just tell you just a couple quick things about this week. Starting tonight, they have 3 games at home against the Blue Jays. Then the Cardinals head to Milwaukee to play 4 games against a very dangerous Brewers team. Here's why I say it's a big week. If we're still in this Cardinals got to prove it mode, right? The Blue Jays are hot. They have the American League's best record since May the 26th. The Brewers, on the other hand, have the National League's best record since May the 18th. So you got 2 teams. Cardinals have to take on 2 teams that the Cardinals have been hotter for a longer period of times, but the Cardinals are going to have to take on 2 teams this week who have had their own hot surge and their own hot streak to get up in the middle of postseason contention. So that's why I think this will be a really fun week of Cardinals baseball observing, bird watching, if you will. But every game really will be a test for the 2025 Cardinals, because they're a prove it. You got to prove it kind of team. They'll be asked to prove themselves again and again and again. But as long as the players believe in themselves, as long as the people in that room believe in themselves and each other, I would say the Cardinals should not be taken lightly. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend. We appreciate DraftKings for presenting the Bernie Show here on STL Sports Central. Thank you very much.